Mother's Day, as we know, is a special day. But oftentimes we forget it can also be a very difficult day for many people, whether it's children who have lost their mothers or mother figures, those struggling with infertility, or mothers and mother figures who are grieving the loss of a loved one, perhaps a child. Today, we're joined by Maria Rantanen. She's acting editor at Richmond News, who lost her son, Michael, in July 2022 to poison drugs. Maria, thank you for joining us. First of all, what goes through your mind and perhaps your heart on Mother's Day?
It's a really hard day. I do have two other sons, and they're great, and they do things for me, so that's great. We're going out for dinner this year. But you know, having lost my oldest son, Michael, you know, part of my heart has been ripped out, and it's hard to feel kind of fully celebratory. But I mean, of course, I want to see my mom and celebrate her as well. But you know, my two other boys do step up always, and they're good. So yeah.
Tell us about Michael.
Michael was an absolute sweetheart, and he was no angel, of course. No child is. He loved two things the most in life. One was skateboarding, and the other was art. And he just wanted to skateboard and do art. And crazy skateboarder. And love that he had those great teenage years where he skateboarded like crazy and all around the Lower Mainland. He'd always call me from different places. Oh, I'm out in North Shore, or I'm out in Surrey, or I'm out. Yeah, very, and longboarding too. So.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was also very kind and you know, really sort of gentle, tolerant personality, and he's quite charismatic too, though.
And you've posted some of his art online on Twitter, and it's quite something.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a bit shocking. He once said to me, art isn't about pretty pictures. And he was very much, and he knew a lot about art history too, like, he would teach me all sorts of things about art history and Impressionism or whatever movement, and so I always learned a lot from him. He was a curious mind.
In the midst of this, you know, years-long public health emergency, poison drugs killing thousands of people in BC, including Michael, and you've had to report on this a lot.
Yeah.
How does that affect how you approach the issue?
I think I've learned that, and I've been very public about Michael's death and his struggles, and I think that telling those stories so people understand the human impact this is having. I mean, this is having an impact on not just myself, but I know that the rest of my family is grieving. I know my other sons are grieving. I know that Michael's dad is grieving, his grandmothers. You know, his friends, you know, I talk to some of his friends sometimes, and so to understand that each death, like again, there was 4 people reported who died in March in Richmond, and I think that's 4 families that have lost someone, and they're going to go through what I'm going through, and we have to understand that, you know, whatever your political viewpoint on it is, or what you think the solutions are, that the impact is so devastating on families.
And for families that you've chatted with and for people that you've connected with about Michael, and perhaps they've lost a loved one, what do you say to them? What do they say to you?
I think that I think it's hard for other people to understand what it's like to lose a child. And, you know, people have a lot of different types of grief in their life, but I think just the profound loss of someone who you nurtured and who you loved and who you were your child. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. So it's that just understanding the profoundness of that loss.
And does that give each person who's experienced that loss a bit of strength, do you think, to know that there's a common bond, even though a sad one?
I do think so, yeah. And I attend some peer groups, and yeah, there is that understanding that you know, we have the same loss, and it does give some, to me, it gives some, I don't feel so alone. Although I must say I have a lot of support from many, many people, and I'm so grateful for that. Yeah.
Maria Rantanen, we appreciate you sharing your story, difficult as it is. Thank you for sharing with us about Michael, and I hope you have as good a Mother's Day as you could possibly have.
Thank you. Thank you.